I had imagined this day 1,000 times. Me, standing at the altar, waiting for her to walk down the aisle, my heart pounding, every step of hers like music meant only for me. And yet, here I was, frozen, hearing words I never thought I'd hear. I can't, she said, voice trembling but firm. The hall went silent. I stared at her, at Aisha, the girl I'd promised forever to, the one who laughed at my jokes, the one who said she loved my simplicity. What do you mean, you can't? I asked, my voice shaking. She avoided my eyes, looking at my father instead. I deserve more, something bigger. I can't do this, not with this. Her gaze flicked briefly to my suit, my simple ring, my life I thought she cherished. My chest tightened. Aisha, please. I love you. I've worked for this day, for us. We can make this our own. She shook her head. I can't settle for less than what I dreamed of. I'm sorry. The crowd murmured. My mother's hand trembled on my shoulder. Son, she whispered, but I couldn't hear her. My world had stopped. Samir appeared beside me, trying to catch my eye. Hey, it's okay. Don't let her ruin this moment. You're not. Not what? I snapped, my voice cracking. Not good enough. Not enough for her dreams. I couldn't even look at him, I just stared at her, my heart shattering in slow motion. Aisha's lips pressed together. I have to go, she whispered, turning away as a wave of whispers spread across the hall. Wait. I called, but my voice was swallowed by the crowd. Please. Aisha, I can't. She didn't stop. She walked out like I wasn't even standing there. And just like that, everything I had imagined, every plan, every hope, crumbled. My father placed a hand on my shoulder. Son. I know this hurts. It's just, how could she? I muttered, my hands trembling. I thought she loved me. I gave her everything I had, everything I am. Samir leaned closer. She's not worth it, man. I know it feels like a punch in the gut, but, you're better than this. Way better. I laughed bitterly. Better? Better at what? At losing the person I trusted the most? At standing here humiliated while everyone watches? You're not alone, okay? Samir said quietly. You've got people who actually care. That's more than she could ever give. I sank into a chair, head in my hands. My sister, Hina, crouched beside me. You can't let her do this to you, bye. You're stronger than you think. I feel, nothing but broken, I admitted. I loved her, Hina. I really loved her. And that's what makes you human, she said softly. One day, you'll look back and see that this was her loss, not yours. I wanted to scream. To throw the flowers she had refused at her face. But instead, I whispered, I don't even know who she really is. Was any of it real? Samir's voice cut in, steady and calm. You'll find out soon enough. And when you do, you'll be ready. I stared at the empty aisle, at the space where my future had been stolen. Aisha had chosen another path, one that didn't include me. My hands were still shaking. My heart was still bleeding. But Samir was right, I had to survive this. Somehow, I had to survive this. And somewhere in the back of my mind, a spark of something new stirred. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But a quiet, burning certainty that one day, everything would change. I locked the door behind me and let the silence swallow the apartment. It smelled like my own despair. The city outside carried on like nothing had happened, but inside, I couldn't breathe. Every corner, every wall, seemed to whisper her name. Aisha. I sank onto the sofa, hands trembling. Why? I muttered to no one. Why her? Why me? Did I not give enough? My phone buzzed. I ignored it. Samir's name flashed on the screen. I didn't have the energy to explain, not even to him. A soft knock at the door startled me. Bye. Hina's voice, cautious and warm. I didn't respond. Hina. I'm fine, I said, though I wasn't. My voice cracked. Fine. You call this fine? She stepped in anyway, ignoring my protests. Look at you. You've been holed up here for days. I can see it in your face. What did she do to you? She rejected me. On our wedding day. I shouted, throwing my hands in the air. All those years, and she just threw it away. Hina's eyes softened, but her voice held steel. And you still loved her? After everything? You think that makes you weak? No, it makes you human, but don't you dare let it break you. I buried my face in my hands. I worked for this. I saved every penny, I planned everything. I thought she loved the life I could give her. But it wasn't enough. She wanted more, someone like Zayn, wealthy, flashy. She chose him over me. Hina's lips pressed into a line. So she wanted a show, huh? And you gave her love, honesty, and she couldn't see it. That's on her, not you. I shook my head. It's not fair, Hina. I loved her. I loved her more than anything. And now it's like I never mattered. I replay everything. Every laugh, every promise. Was it all lies? Hina knelt beside me. You're letting her win by doubting yourself. You're stronger than this. I've seen you fight for everything else in life, don't let one person take that away. I laughed bitterly. Fight? I fought, Hina. I fought for her, for us, for a life I thought we could have. And she walked away because a richer man showed up. Bye, she said gently but firmly, you're looking at this backwards. You're not losing, you're waking up. Don't let her illusions of grandeur trap you in misery. I rubbed my temples. Easy for you to say. You didn't stand there, watching everyone whisper, seeing her smile at someone else like I meant nothing. She never deserved to see your heart, Hina said softly. You gave her everything real. And real people. They notice. They see. Don't let her choices define you. I paced the small living room, fists clenching. Zayn. I heard he's got a mansion, cars, connections. Everything I could never give. And she's happy with him. I don't even know if she regrets it. Hina followed me, placing a hand on my shoulder. Doesn't matter. What matters is you. What matters is that you survive this without losing yourself. You can't control her choices, but you can control yours. I sank into the sofa again, the weight of betrayal pressing down. I don't even know who I am anymore, without her. All I see is what I lost. Then see what you can gain, Hina said firmly. See yourself. Your potential. Your strength. Don't waste days mourning someone who didn't value you. Her words hit harder than any slap could. I looked at her, seeing the concern, the love in her eyes. She wasn't coddling me. She was shaking me awake. I can't just forget, I admitted, voice low. But I have to survive. I can't let her make a fool of me in front of everyone again. I swear. I'll never be humiliated like that. Not again. Hina smiled faintly. That's my bye. One step at a time. You'll rebuild. And maybe, just maybe, you'll see someone who truly deserves you. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. Her words lingered, fragile but potent. A spark of resolve kindled in me, quiet but fierce. One day, I promised myself. One day, I would rise from this. Not just to survive, but to thrive. For now, though, all I could do was sit, replaying memories of Aisha, feeling the sting, tasting the betrayal, and letting it forge the man I would become. I never thought I'd enjoy mornings again, but somehow, the sunlight through my window felt less like a reminder of loss and more like a challenge. Samir knocked on my door like he owned the place. "Rise and shine, man. Or at least try," he said, grinning. "I'm up," I muttered, though I stayed under the covers a little longer. "You sound like a zombie. Are you eating, sleeping, or just brooding?" "Mostly brooding," I admitted. He laughed. "Well, congratulations. You're officially an adult who sulks. But hey, at least you're alive." "Thanks, that's comforting," I said sarcastically, swinging my legs off the bed. Samir shook his head. "You need more than sarcasm. You need a plan. You need hobbies. And maybe a haircut. That mop on your head isn't helping the world forget your heartbreak." I smirked despite myself. "Fine, Mr. Therapist. What do you suggest?" "Gym, photography, cooking, anything that doesn't involve crying into ramen noodles at 2 a.m. And work, don't forget work." He had a point. So I started small. Early mornings at the office, tackling tasks I had once avoided, and slowly, people noticed. My team, previously indifferent, started asking for my input. My confidence, once shattered, crept back like sunlight through cracked blinds. "Hey, you're on fire today," Samir said one afternoon, leaning against my desk. "Whatever heartbreak potion you're on, I want some." "I'm just focused," I said, typing furiously. "Maybe I'm tired of letting her memory control me." He smirked. "Look at you, Mr. Philosophical. You've got that glint in your eyes now, dangerous, brooding, mysterious. Women love that. Or maybe it's just me imagining it." I laughed. "Let's not get ahead of ourselves." Then came Mr. Farouk, my mentor at work, who seemed to appear exactly when I needed direction. One afternoon, he leaned on my desk, arms crossed. "You're distracted," he said quietly. "I have some personal things," I admitted, my voice low. He nodded knowingly. "Heartbreak. Anger. Frustration. I see it in your eyes. You can let it ruin you, or you can use it. Turn it into focus, energy, something productive. You have the potential, but whining won't unlock it." I looked at him, a mix of gratitude and embarrassment. "Easier said than done." "Nothing worth doing is easy," he said. "Channel it. Your pain is fuel. Use it, don't waste it." Those words stuck. I started running in the mornings, capturing photos of mundane city life, trying my hand at cooking, and volunteering for projects at work. Slowly, I felt myself returning, piece by piece. One evening, Samir plopped down beside me at our favorite cafe. "You know," he said, stirring his coffee, "I haven't seen you this alive since Aisha walked out. You're smiling again. Dangerous, huh?" I chuckled. "Dangerous is not the word I'd use." "No, it's perfect," he said. "You've got a new vibe. Confidence. People notice. Don't even pretend you're not aware of it." "Maybe I am," I admitted, sipping my tea. "But it's strange. I feel resentful too. Angry. At her. At everything she represented." "And that's fair," Samir said. "But don't let it consume you. Let it remind you why you're rebuilding yourself. Karma has a funny way of balancing things out." I nodded, a faint smile tugging at my lips. "Yeah, maybe one day she'll see what she lost. But that's not my focus now. I have to focus on me. On what I can build for myself." Weeks passed. My colleagues began inviting me for lunches and coffee breaks. I noticed glances from new people at work, some curious, some admiring. It was strange, intoxicating, in a way I hadn't expected. One evening, after a late meeting, I stayed behind to organize files. A colleague, Amara, stopped by. "You're always so focused." "It's impressive." "Thanks," I said, feeling an unfamiliar warmth in my chest. "I guess I've learned to not let setbacks define me." She smiled. "It suits you. Confident, determined, and kind. You have this calm that makes people feel safe." I glanced away, a mix of surprise and hesitation. "Safe? I'm not sure I'm that." "Yes, you are," she interrupted gently. "Even if you don't see it yourself yet." Her words lingered, unlike any I'd heard before. A subtle pull of curiosity, of something new, flickered within me. For the first time in months, I allowed myself to imagine a life beyond the shadow of Aisha. And still, the memory of her betrayal lingered. I couldn't forget, nor did I want to. It fueled me, sharpened me, made me wary. But I also realized, there was space now. Space for growth, space for life, space for someone who might truly appreciate me. Samir nudged me as we left the office that night. "See? The world's not over. You're not broken. You're better." "Better, huh?" I muttered, looking up at the dark sky. "Yeah. I guess I am. And I'm just getting started." The ballroom was buzzing, chandeliers reflecting light off polished floors, people mingling and laughing. I adjusted my tie, trying to look natural, though part of me wanted to disappear. Business events were never my favorite, but tonight was necessary. Then I saw her. Aisha. My stomach twisted, and for a second, my tongue refused to form words. She froze too, mid-step, her eyes wide before she plastered a mask of composure over her expression. "Is that you?" she finally said, voice soft, uncertain. "It is," I said evenly, keeping my tone calm, controlled. "I didn't expect to see you here." She smiled, a little too tightly. Neither did I. I mean, it's been years." "Years," I echoed, letting the word hang between us. Memories surged, her laughter, the wedding, the rejection. I forced myself to breathe, to maintain control. "This is Sana," she said quickly, gesturing to a woman at her side. "My friend, she, helps me, advises me." "Nice to meet you," I said politely, inclining my head. Sana smiled, but her eyes were calculating, trying to gauge me, maybe even protect Aisha from my reaction. Sana leaned in slightly, whispering, "People change, you know, circumstances, choices." I raised an eyebrow. "And that excuses, what?" Sana hesitated, then straightened. "Nothing excuses hurt. But, everyone does what they feel they need to survive." I let a small smile curl on my lips, sharp but restrained. Interesting perspective. And does she feel she survived by abandoning someone who loved her? Aisha looked down, fiddling with her clutch. I never meant to hurt you. I had to do what was best for me at the time. I'm sorry. Sorry, I repeated, savoring the word. After years of wondering, after watching you walk away and choose him, now it's just sorry. She flinched but didn't argue. I know it doesn't fix anything. I just wanted to see how you're doing. I studied her, noting the expensive dress, the polished demeanor. She looked composed, successful, probably everything she had ever wanted. And yet, I felt a flicker of doubt. Triumph. I was standing here, intact, composed, not the broken man she had left behind. I'm doing well, I said, voice calm but firm. Better than I ever imagined. Work's going great, life's full. Aisha's eyes flicked to the crowd, avoiding mine for a heartbeat. I hear you've done well. People talk. You've grown. Yes, I said. I've grown. Learned a lot about life, about trust, about myself. Some lessons were painful, but necessary. She swallowed. I sometimes wonder if I made the right choice. Seeing you, like this, thriving. I cut her off gently but deliberately. Aisha, don't mistake my composure for forgiveness. I've moved on. I don't need you to validate me. Your regrets, they're yours to deal with. Sana stepped closer, protective. She didn't know, it was complicated. Complicated, I repeated, voice cold but even. Life is complicated. People make choices. Some are cruel, some are inevitable. But I survived. That's the difference between us. Aisha's lips trembled. I never wanted you to feel like this. And yet I did, I said softly, almost pitying her. I loved you more than you loved me. But I'm not that person anymore. I don't give anyone that power over me. She looked down again, silent. For a moment, I considered saying more, letting anger spill, but I stopped myself. Triumph didn't need words, it was in my calm, measured breathing, the way I held my ground. Sana glanced at her, uneasy, and said, maybe you should go, before it gets harder. I gave a small nod, acknowledging her warning. Yes. This is enough for tonight. Aisha's eyes met mine briefly, haunted, unsure. I hope life continues to treat you well. And I hope you learn from yours, I replied, and I meant it. Not hatred. Not bitterness. But a quiet, steady conviction. I turned and walked away, every step deliberate, every heartbeat steady. I wasn't the man she had rejected years ago. I was someone stronger, someone in control, someone who refused to let past wounds dictate his present. As I melted into the crowd, I felt the spark that had begun years ago during heartbreak flicker into something new, the determination to live fully, to embrace growth, and to let karma, silent, inevitable, do the rest. I didn't expect it, meeting Amara was completely unplanned. She was sitting across from me at the office lounge, laughing at something one of our colleagues had said. I caught her eyes, and for a moment, I felt calm. Not the anxious, hollow calm of heartbreak, but something warm, inviting. Mind if I join? I asked, forcing a casual tone. Not at all, she said, smiling. I was hoping someone would. It's nicer than sitting here alone. I pulled out a chair, suddenly aware of how tense I'd been lately. I'm guessing you're Amara. Yes, she said, extending her hand. And you are. Samir told me about you, I admitted, shaking her hand. He seems to think you're trouble. She laughed, and it was genuine, easy. Samir. He's harmless. Mostly. But yes, I can be trouble if you let me. I said, leaning back, letting a small smile tug at my lips. I think I can handle some trouble. As long as it doesn't involve heartbreak. Her eyes sparkled. No heartbreak here. Only, honesty and maybe coffee. I raised an eyebrow. That sounds dangerously comforting. We talked for hours that afternoon, about work, life, little quirks, favorite books. Every word from her felt natural, like a conversation I hadn't realized I'd been missing. When she laughed at my terrible joke, something in me softened. You have a way of making people feel at ease, I said quietly, when we finally got a moment of silence. That's kind of you to say, she replied, her gaze steady. I think it's more about noticing things others don't. Like when someone's holding back, or hiding a story behind their smile. I stared at her, the weight of years pressing against my chest. Funny. I feel like you see right through me. She shrugged, but her smile didn't fade. Maybe. Or maybe you just make it easy. Over the next few weeks, our lunches became routine, little conversations stretching into long evening walks. She teased me about my obsession with work, I teased her about always being too organized. Every playful jab, every shared laugh chipped away at the walls I'd built around my heart. One evening, after a long day, I confessed, almost shyly, I didn't expect to feel this, comfortable around someone. Not after everything. Amara looked at me, eyes soft. You've been carrying a lot. It's okay to let someone in, even slowly. Healing isn't a race. I nodded, the tension in my shoulders easing. I think I'm ready to try. To trust again. Not blindly, but genuinely. Her hand brushed mine briefly. Genuine is the best kind. Always. Samir noticed the change before I even admitted it to myself. One afternoon, he nudged me in the hallway. I see the spark, man. It's good to see you, happy again. Don't let fear make you run back to shadows. I laughed softly. Shadows? Yeah. You know, the ghosts of past mistakes and heartbreak. Let her haunt the past, not your present. I nodded. I'm learning. And I was. Each interaction with Amara, each shared laugh, each gentle conversation, reminded me of what I'd almost lost, the ability to feel fully, freely, without fear. She wasn't flashy, she wasn't trying to impress me with wealth or status. She valued character, sincerity, kindness. The kind of love that didn't demand, only nurtured. Yet, there was a subtle tension lingering at the edges of my life, Aisha. I began noticing her at events, in the same social circles. She watched me sometimes, her expression unreadable, curiosity and regret flickering behind her carefully controlled mask. I didn't seek confrontation. I didn't need to. But her presence reminded me of everything I had endured, and everything I had built since then. One evening, after a networking event, Amara and I stepped onto the terrace. The city lights stretched endlessly, reflections of ambition and life. She leaned slightly against the railing, and I found myself saying, almost to myself, I've been through a lot. And yet, I feel alive again. Because of you. She smiled, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. You've done the work yourself. I'm just here to remind you that life can be gentle, even after pain. Her words struck me more deeply than I expected. It's strange, I admitted. I spent years thinking about revenge, about proving something, and now, I realize, the real victory is being able to feel, to trust, to grow. Amara glanced at me, eyes warm. That's the best kind of triumph. Silent, strong, unshakable. I laughed softly, letting a small weight lift from my chest. I never imagined I could feel like this again. Neither did I, she whispered. But here we are. And in that moment, I understood. Healing wasn't linear. Love wasn't always dramatic or grand. Sometimes, it was quiet, steady, and tender. And perhaps, when the time came, I would face Aisha again, with nothing but calm, confidence, and the strength of the life I had rebuilt. For now, though, I held on to this, Amara, laughter, hope, and the slow rekindling of a heart that thought it had been lost forever. I was reviewing the wedding guest list with Amara when the envelope slid across the table. Another invitation? She asked, raising an eyebrow. I picked it up, feeling a sudden chill. Yeah, seems like it. She leaned closer, curiosity flickering in her eyes. Let me see. I tore it open slowly. The name inside made my chest tighten, Aisha. She's attending. Amara said softly, sensing my tension. I nodded, swallowing hard. Yes. I didn't expect this. Not at all. Amara reached out, placing a hand on mine. Hey, breathe. You've come so far. This doesn't have to shake you. I forced a calm smile. I know. But, it's her. After everything, seeing her at my wedding, it's like a test. I don't know if I want to face her. Amara tilted her head. Do you want to confront her? Or, just move on and let her regret her choices? I paused, weighing the words. I don't want to give her the satisfaction of knowing she affects me. But I also want her to see. See that I've built something real, something she couldn't have. Samir walked in at that moment, overhearing the last part. Ah, I see. Aisha's coming, huh? Classic. He smirked, teasing but supportive. So, Mr. Revenge, are we going to steamroll gracefully or let karma do its thing? I chuckled, rubbing my temples. Graceful, I think. That's the challenge. I need to enjoy my day without her shadow looming over it. Exactly, Samir said. You've earned that. Amara's wonderful, Faisal's helping, just focus on your happiness. The rest will sort itself out. Amara nodded, smiling gently. Faisal's great at this. He knows how to plan things thoughtfully without letting chaos creep in. I remembered Faisal, her protective older brother. Yeah, he's been a lifesaver. Keeps me on track when I'm worrying too much. Worrying? Samir teased. You? Nah, you're calm as a monk. Except now, you're fretting over a ghost from the past. Not fretting, I said firmly. Strategizing. Mental strategy. I need to decide how to handle her presence. Ignore, confront, or let karma unfold. Amara squeezed my hand. You've built this life carefully, patiently. Aisha's appearance doesn't erase that. You decide what she sees and what she doesn't. I let her words sink in. I don't want to appear weak. I don't want to let old wounds dictate the day. Faisal, who had been quietly arranging flower samples nearby, spoke up. You won't. You've done the work, both emotionally and practically. Just remember, elegance, composure, and focus. That's your best response. I nodded. Thank you. That helps more than you know. Samir leaned against the counter, grinning. Think of it this way, you're about to have the most beautiful wedding. She'll see it all, and you'll still be smiling, laughing, living. That's better than any confrontation. I let out a slow breath. Yeah. I guess I'm scared she'll ruin it, even a little. Seeing her there, it stirs old emotions I thought I had buried. Amara's voice was calm, steady. Then let's plan something memorable. Something that makes both of us proud. She can watch, but she won't have any power over you. I smiled at her, the warmth of her presence soothing the tension. You're right. I need to focus on us, not her. This day is ours. Faisal chimed in, practical and kind. Exactly. When you walk down the aisle, when you say your vows, it's about the life you're building with Amara, not the one you left behind with her. Don't let anyone, no matter who, steal that moment. I nodded, feeling a quiet determination. I'll make it beautiful. Graceful. Every detail will remind me that I've chosen wisely, lived wisely, and loved genuinely. Samir smirked. I like that. Calm, confident, and leaving Aisha speechless. Perfect. I need to prepare myself, I said softly. Mentally, emotionally. I can't predict her behavior, but I can control mine. That's what matters. Amara smiled, leaning against me. And I'll be right here, every step. You're not facing her alone. This is our day, our life. I looked at her, feeling strength and love intertwine. Thank you, for being patient, for understanding, for being real. I don't know if I ever told you how much that means. Her eyes softened. Actions speak louder than words. And your actions so far, have been everything. I exhaled, the weight of anticipation mingling with excitement. Then let's plan the best wedding ever. Elegant, unforgettable, ours. Aisha can attend, but she won't control a single heartbeat of it. Faisal smiled approvingly. That's the spirit. Compose, enjoy, live. Karma, well, it's already in motion. I laughed softly. It is, isn't it? And I don't even need to touch it. I just need to live. Samir clapped me on the shoulder. Exactly. Now let's make this wedding legendary. And as I looked around the table, Amara, Faisal, Samir, I realized something important. No matter what Aisha thought or felt, no matter her regrets or manipulations, I was ready. Ready to live fully, love genuinely, and face the past without letting it define me. For the first time in years, I felt completely in control. The morning air felt crisp, filled with the scent of flowers and anticipation. Guests were arriving, laughter and chatter blending into a gentle hum. I straightened my tie for the third time, trying to calm a nervous excitement I hadn't felt in years. Relax, you look perfect, Amara said, smiling as she adjusted the edge of my cuff. I'm trying, I admitted, feeling the weight of the day pressing against me. It's different, knowing she's here. Amara's hand found mine, warm and grounding. Focus on us, not her. This day is ours. I nodded, letting her words settle. You're right. It's ours. Samir leaned against the doorway, grinning. You're calmer than I expected. Ready to see some tears today? Don't tempt me, I said, though a small smile escaped. The ceremony began. Guests whispered softly, some glancing around with curiosity. I caught fragments of conversation. Isn't that? No, it can't be. She's actually here. I didn't look immediately. I let the moment stretch, the music swell. Then I saw her, Aisha, at the edge of the hall, standing still, eyes fixed on me. She was beautiful, poised, yet there was something fragile in the way she held herself. Tears glimmered, careful and restrained. Amara squeezed my hand. See? She's just a shadow now. Focus on the light. I exhaled slowly, the contrast striking. That shadow had once dictated my life, controlled my emotions, and left me hollow. Now, she was just a witness. Guests murmured again. Did you see her? Aisha, she looks upset. I think, she regrets it, someone whispered. I allowed a quiet, internal smile. Not triumph in cruelty, but satisfaction in growth. I had built this life carefully, honestly. And here I was, sharing it with someone who valued me for who I am. The officiant began the vows. I looked at Amara, her eyes soft and filled with love. My hand found hers, fingers intertwining, a silent promise stronger than any words. I promise to love, to respect, to grow with you, I said, voice steady, catching her gaze. Through joy and sorrow, laughter and pain, I choose you, always. Amara's eyes glistened. I promise the same, with all that I am. You've shown me patience, kindness, and trust, and I will never take that for granted. A chorus of ahs and gentle applause rippled through the hall. I glanced at Aisha again. She didn't move. Just watched, a single tear rolling down her cheek. I felt a strange empathy. She had chosen differently, and now she saw the cost. But she had no power over this moment. Samir leaned in slightly. See? No dramatics needed. Just reality. You're living it, man. I nodded, squeezing Amara's hand. It's surreal, and perfect. Whispers continued around the guests. I can't believe she's crying. She finally realizes what she lost. I caught a fleeting glance from Faisal. He gave me a small nod, approving. Protective, yes, but also recognizing that I had handled this moment with grace. The ceremony ended. We walked down the aisle together, smiling, the world around us a blur of joy. Amara's hand never left mine. I felt the difference between now and the past. Then, rejection had left me exposed, now, fulfillment wrapped me in strength. "Look at them," Samir whispered as we passed a group of guests. "Pure happiness. No shadows can touch it." I glanced at Aisha one last time before stepping outside for photographs. She turned her face, hiding tears quickly, but I saw the regret lingering, the recognition of my growth. I didn't gloat. I didn't sneer. I just acknowledged the past and moved forward. Later, at the reception, guests joked and laughed. Conversations bubbled around me, but my focus remained steady. Every smile, every toast, every laugh felt earned. Amara leaned in, whispering, "You look at peace." I smiled back, letting a quiet warmth fill me. I am. For the first time in years, truly. Nothing can shake this, no regrets, no ghosts. Just us. Even her. I exhaled softly. Even her. She's part of my past. I've learned, I've grown. Today isn't about her, it's about the life we're building. Samir raised his glass. To the happy couple, and to lessons learned the hard way. I clinked my glass gently against Amara's. To growth, love, and living fully. She rested her head against my shoulder for a moment. We did it, together. Yes, I whispered. Together. And that's all that matters. Later, as the evening wore on, I caught one last glimpse of Aisha standing at the edge of the hall. No words, no drama. Just silent recognition. I realized then that her tears, her regret, they didn't matter anymore. I had lived through the heartbreak, rebuilt my life, found genuine love, and claimed my happiness. In that moment, I felt a final release. The past had lost its grip, and the present, radiant and tender, belonged entirely to me. Amara's hand in mine, the laughter surrounding us, the warmth of friends and family, it all crystallized into something more than triumph. It was peace, joy, and quiet victory. And I would carry it forward, unshaken. The night had settled softly over the wedding venue. Guests had departed, laughter lingering in faint echoes, and the hall was quieter now. I spotted Aisha standing near the garden exit, as if waiting, hesitant. I approached slowly. "Aisha." She flinched at the sound of my voice but didn't step back. "I didn't expect you to come over." "I wanted to," I said calmly. "We need to talk, briefly." Her eyes flicked down, a shadow of guilt in their depths. I suppose we do." There was silence for a moment, heavy but controlled. Then she whispered, "You look happy." I allowed a small, steady smile. "I am. Truly. That's not a performance. That's real life, built carefully, honestly." She nodded slowly, biting her lip. I never imagined it would be like this. Seeing you, thriving. I thought I had everything I wanted, but you didn't," I finished for her. "Yes," she admitted softly. "I thought wealth and appearances would fill the void, but they didn't. Not the way love does." I studied her face. No arrogance, no manipulation, just raw, reluctant remorse. "And that teaches you what?" "That choices have consequences," she whispered. "I lost something I didn't appreciate. Someone I hurt deeply, someone I can't get back." I nodded. "You can't. But I can live fully. That's what matters now." Her hands twisted nervously. I've had my own struggles since then. People, opportunities, none of it felt meaningful. I realized too late what I gave up. "And that's your lesson," I said softly, not bitterly. "Not mine to teach you." I've learned mine already: resilience, patience, genuine love. She looked up, her eyes glistening. I always underestimated you. Your strength, your depth. And I never realized how much I hurt you until it was too late. I exhaled, letting a quiet weight lift. You realized it. That's enough for you. For me. I've moved on. I've found someone who values me, completely, without conditions or calculations. She nodded, a flicker of admiration passing briefly. Amara, she's amazing. I see that. And you? I see the man you've become. Strong, composed, content. Something I couldn't have given you. Exactly, I said. And that's why this conversation ends here. No recrimination, no lingering anger. Just, understanding. She swallowed hard. I'm sorry for everything. Truly. I hope you're happy. I am, I said, holding her gaze. And I hope you find your own peace, Aisha. Not with me, not with regret, just, within yourself. Her lips trembled, and a single tear rolled down her cheek. I don't know if I can ever forgive myself. But seeing you now. I understand. I understand what I lost. You will, I said softly. Eventually. And that's all I wish for you: closure, growth, something you can carry forward without bitterness. She nodded again, and for a moment, we stood in silence, the garden quiet except for distant crickets. Then she took a small step back. Thank you, for hearing me. For not letting this ruin your life. I admire that. You've said enough, I replied. Now go. Build something meaningful for yourself. Don't dwell in the past, it'll only trap you. Her eyes lingered on me, conflicted, sorrowful, yet respectful. Then she nodded once more and walked away, slow but determined, leaving the moonlight to trace her path. I exhaled, finally allowing myself to relax. The tension I hadn't realized I carried, the weight of unfinished business, of past wounds, was gone. Completely gone. Amara stepped beside me, her hand finding mine instinctively. Everything okay? She asked softly. Better than okay, I said, a small smile tugging at my lips. I finally have closure. For both of us. She leaned into me, whispering, I'm proud of you. Not just for today, but for who you've become. I squeezed her hand. It wasn't easy. But it was necessary. I've learned that heartbreak can either destroy you or transform you. I chose transformation. Samir appeared then, leaning casually against the garden railing, grinning. Look at you, all composed, calm, who would have thought? And here I was ready to bring popcorn for a showdown. I laughed, a genuine, unburdened laugh. No showdown necessary. Some victories are silent. Some lessons are learned quietly. Exactly, Samir said. You lived it. You loved again. And she, well, she's just part of the past now. No power left. I nodded, feeling the truth settle deep inside. Power doesn't reside in revenge or regret. It resides in living fully, in choosing love over bitterness, growth over resentment. Amara smiled up at me, eyes warm. And you've done that beautifully. Now, let's go inside, enjoy the rest of the night, celebrate our life together. I exhaled, letting a wave of calm joy wash over me. Yes. Tonight isn't about shadows. It's about light, love, and the life we're creating. Together, we walked back toward the hall, hand in hand, laughter and music spilling around us. I glanced once more at the path Aisha had taken, and I felt nothing but quiet empathy. She had her lesson, I had mine, and finally, my past no longer had the power to define me. In that moment, I understood fully, heartbreak could wound deeply, but resilience, patience, and genuine love restored balance. And I was ready for every moment of the life ahead, unshaken, unburdened, free. The morning sunlight spilled across our living room, soft and warm. I sat on the couch, cup of tea in hand, letting the calm settle around me. Life felt lighter. Amara joined me, leaning against the armrest. "You've been quiet today." "Thinking?" I smiled, sipping my tea. "Yeah. Thinking about everything, the past, the journey, how far we've come." She tilted her head, playful. "Far enough to make me jealous?" I laughed softly. "Maybe a little. But mostly grateful. Grateful for you, for Samir, for the lessons I learned the hard way." Samir, who had just walked in with a stack of wedding photos, grinned. "Lessons, huh? You mean how not to let a certain ex dictate your happiness?" "Exactly that," I said, shaking my head. "I let heartbreak consume me once. I didn't see my own worth, my own strength. I gave power to someone who didn't deserve it." Amara reached for my hand. "And now?" "Now," I paused, feeling the truth solidify. "Now I know the difference between what's real and what's superficial. Between someone who values me and someone who just wanted what I could give. And I don't. I won't settle for less again." Samir laughed. "Wow, someone's feeling philosophical this morning. Next, you'll be quoting poetry." "I'd settle for wisdom," I replied with a grin. "But yes. I'm reflective. I've grown. And it's because I faced betrayal, endured heartbreak, and chose to rise instead of crumble." Amara's eyes softened. "And that's what makes this life we're building so strong. You've been tested, and you've come out better, stronger, wiser." I nodded, warmth spreading through me. I never thought I'd be here, genuinely happy, at peace, without shadows of the past hovering over me. But I am. And it's because I let go of toxic attachments, and embraced patience, honesty, and love that's real. Samir held up a photo. "Speaking of shadows, look at this one, your expression on the dance floor. Pure triumph. I mean it. You're glowing, man." I chuckled, taking the photo. I remember that moment, the weight of everything lifting. I felt unshakable, not because of revenge or vindication, but because I finally chose myself and someone who values me. Amara leaned into me, whispering softly. "You've earned that. Every bit of it." "I know," I said, resting my head against hers. "And I hope, in some small way, my story reminds me, and maybe others, that betrayal wounds, but it doesn't have to define you. You can rise, rebuild, and love again." Samir smirked, sitting beside us. "You make it sound like a manual for heartbreak survivors. Step 1, grow up. Step 2, find Amara. Step 3, live happily ever after." I laughed, shaking my head. "Something like that. Though life isn't a straight path. Challenges will come. There will be tests, temptations, moments that shake confidence. But if you've learned to value yourself, recognize genuine intentions, and let go of the past, you can handle it." Amara squeezed my hand. "And we'll face them together." "Yes," I said, a quiet smile forming. "Together. That's the biggest lesson of all. Love isn't just about feelings, it's about trust, respect, patience, and support. And when you have that, even storms feel manageable." Samir leaned back, shaking his head. "Look at you, Mr. Enlightened. Who would have thought you'd become a philosopher while surviving your ex's drama?" I chuckled again. Life teaches in strange ways. Heartbreak, betrayal, even humiliation, all of it shapes you. And eventually, you emerge with clarity. That clarity is worth more than any pain endured. Amara rested her head on my shoulder. "And now we can build everything else, happiness, trust, a life that's ours." I nodded, gazing at the sunlight dancing across the room. Yes, ours. And I feel ready for whatever comes next. Life is unpredictable, yes, but I've learned resilience. I've learned love. I've learned myself. Samir raised his cup in a mock toast. To resilience, love, and Mr. Enlighten's future adventures. I smiled, raising mine too. To new beginnings. To lessons learned. To happiness, built from truth, patience, and courage. Amara laughed softly. And to never letting anyone diminish our joy. I felt a quiet, profound contentment settle in my chest. The past was behind me, the future uncertain but bright, and the present was perfect. I realized then that life's greatest victories weren't about revenge or recognition. They were about healing, choosing wisely, and embracing love that's real. And in that moment, surrounded by laughter, warmth, and the people who mattered most, I understood fully, betrayal may wound deeply, but resilience, compassion, and genuine love restore balance, and I was ready to live every moment of it.